Hello Scouts with Winnebago Council, Greg Muller here again for our Sunday stroll. Today we're going to be doing a 3-mile hike, and I'm going to show you what it takes to put all that stuff together so that you're fully prepared when you go out into the woods. Alright, as we get started today, you guys will notice that I am not outside today. I normally shoot my videos out in the woods, but I'm in my office today because, quite frankly, it's really hot and I have air conditioning. So, to get started on my hike, anytime I'm going to be taking a hike, I start out with my notebook. I keep all my notes in here from past hikes, and this is where I'm going to create my hike plan. To get started, we need to get a couple of things put together first. The first but most important of those things, I think, is first aid kit. Mine's probably a little bit more extensive than what you guys would need for a 3-mile hike, but this is the one I have put together, so this is the one I usually just grab. As you can see, there's quite a bit of stuff in here. It's pretty extensive, and you'll be able to find lists in any of your Scouts, BSA, or Cub Scout books for what you really need to include in your hike, but focus on what can happen on a hike, and minor cuts, scrapes, bruises, that kind of thing is expected, so I always have a selection of BandAids in case I have something that's going to bleed a little bit more. I have some gauze. I have an elastic bandage, like an ace bandage, in case we have a rolled ankle or a sprained knee or something like that. We need electric support. I always keep a couple of different creams. We got a first aid burn cream. We have insect relief pads. Insect bites do happen. The first thing when you open my kit, you'll notice falls out, it's a pair of rubber gloves. Anytime you're going to be working on anything, especially if you're working on another person, glove up. It's just important to keep everything nice and sterile. We don't know what anybody else might have as far as bloodborne pathogens go. And again, I have a couple bigger BandAids. I have a pair of scissors with a pair of fingernail clippers attached. Some larger gauze pads like this as opposed to the rolls. Let's see, and that's about what I have in my hike kit. I also do a lot of wilderness survival stuff, so I have I always include some of that. I have a signal mirror in case I get lost. Whistle would be a good thing to have in here in case you get separated from the group. And in the colder weather hikes, I always have an emergency blanket. These are a little better than the silver ones you see in a package because they're a little bit sturdier. They have a backing on them. So that's going to about do it for my first aid kit. Moving right along. Oh, before I forget, blisters on a hike. They happen. If you have newer boots that are not broken in or you're not used to longer hikes, you're going to get a blister. They're painful. They're not any fun. So this is moleskin. This is what we recommend. It's just kind of some padding that goes around the blister that keeps it from rubbing raw. Another thing you can do, which is what I usually end up doing a lot of the time, duct tape. I'll put a piece of duct tape right over it, and that keeps it from getting worse. You can use some medical tape out of your first aid kit if you don't have duct tape. The next thing we need to do is to ID potential poisonous plants or venomous animals. Here I'm at Ingowanis Adventure Base. We don't really have the venomous snakes and stuff that you normally would worry about in some parts of the country, but we do have more than enough mosquitoes. So some mosquito repellent would definitely be a good thing to include in your pack. As far as dangerous animals, we don't really have bears. We don't really have rattlesnakes. So. But this is the kind of thing we need to look at. Next thing on the list is we need to make a lunch. I just ate lunch, but on a 3-mile hike, I always bring something. So for today, I have an apple, some granola bars, and some sunflower seeds to snack on along the way. You can do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, lunch meat sandwiches, make some, roll them up in a tortilla so they don't get smashed, or you can put them on regular bread. Pretty much anything you would eat lunch at home, you can baggie up and take with you. I usually try not to eat too much on a hike. I don't like feeling real full when I'm walking, especially in the heat. So put together a little bit of a lunch, and it does help along the way. I take it about mid-hike or so, I'll stop and eat a little bit. Another thing we need to review here is our outdoor code and our leave no trace principles. As I talked about in our last Sunday stroll, anytime that you find people, you find garbage. Please do not throw your lunch garbage on the trails, and if you're going into your hike, bring a plastic sack with you, so in case you find any garbage, you can take it out with you. Our outdoor code, and this should be in all of your Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA handbook, is: as an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners. Be careful with fire, be considerate in the outdoors, and be conservation minded. What that means is we're not going to go out and, obviously we're not going to go out and throw our garbage. We're not going to go out and cut fresh walking sticks from saplings. We're not going to go out and destroy any part of the woods. We need to really be conserving these natural spaces because we don't have a lot of them left, and the more they get abused and the more people see that, the more they're just going to continue to go away. Our leave no trace principles kind of touches on the same thing. The phrase that I've always used, I learned as a scout, was take nothing but photographs, leave nothing but footprints. We're not going into the woods to, like I said, we're not going to the woods to cut fresh walking sticks. We're not going to the woods to harvest anything. We're just going to enjoy the nature around us. We need to establish some roles in our hike. Now, if you're doing this with your pack or your troop, there's going to be a group of you, and there needs to be some leadership roles within your group. We need to have a hike leader, and the hike leader is going to be in charge of who's on the hike, what's our hike plan, making sure everything is organized and put together as it should. We need to have a first aid leader. They're going to carry the first aid kit. They're going to help with any first aid duties. Somebody in charge of the lunch. Now, there might be multiple people carrying the lunches out, but there needs to be somebody in charge of making sure that you have enough for everybody and that you have a well-rounded lunch put together. I always try to do some kind of a service project as I'm going. It might be at the end of my hike. I'm hiking out, a mile and a half or midway in my hike, and we're gonna pick up trails, pick up garbage. That's a big one. As you're going along, take sticks off of the trail, pick up garbage as you see it. Just those little service projects like that are what keeps the woods natural and beautiful for everybody. So as we go along here, I'm going to show you what it takes to put together a hike plan. And anytime I'm getting ready for a hike, this is what I have for a hike plan. I'm gonna tell you what this all has on here. I'm gonna put today's date, my name. For this hike, I'm going to be acting in the leadership role. I'm going to be doing all the roles because, I'm by myself. But first thing we need to establish is location. Now, I am at Ingawana's Adventure Base. So that is my location. The distance is 3 miles. The start time, put down my start time here. I'm going to start in about 20 minutes, so we'll call it 5 o'clock. Where we are going to assemble to start. This is where everybody's going to be meeting to start the hike from. This is our start point. We need to, I'm going to start at the Director's Lodge. The approximate finish time, so for a hike in the woods on reasonably well-established trails, you can plan on 1 to 2 miles an hour, give or take. If you're doing rough terrain, if you're on a more established trail, you can push 3 miles an hour. And again, for the younger cubbies, this will be a little bit slower. You're just taking shorter steps. So my approximate finish time for a 3-mile hike, I will plan on, I'll plan on 2 miles an hour, because that's going to be about right. I'm going to be staying to some pretty decent trails. So we'll call it 6:30, take me about an hour and a half, especially after I stop and have a little lunch. And any other info that we need to know, say if you have a scout on your trip that is allergic to bee stings, this is something we need to know. What our service project is going to be. Any other information that's going to make it possible to have a more productive hike for everybody. So you can see now I have all this filled out. And then I'm going to take this with me as I go. Another thing we need to do is make sure that your communication devices, I always bring my cell phone. I have decent cell phone service out here. You need to let somebody know, even if you're going as a group, you need to let somebody know where you're going to be. They need a copy of your hike plans. Write down the list, what time you're going to start, where you're going to meet, your approximate route, where you're going to be going through camp, and this needs to be given to 2 other people, so you have some redundancy there in the hike plan in case something happens, you get lost. That way they know where to look for you. So as I get ready for my hike, today I'm going to be wearing my khaki colored scout shirt. Normally I normally wear a Venture Crew shirt, but with the dark color and the heat and the sun today, I'm going to go with a little bit lighter colored shirt. Some of us are missing some hair upstairs, so we need to cover our heads from the sun. I either wear a ball cap like this, or in the hot sun like today, I'm going to pick something with a full brim. So I'm going to probably be wearing this guy today, but there's a couple of options. I know this is a scout hat that some of you wear. This one is not going to fit my head, but something with a full brim helps keep the sun off your neck and keeps you from getting sunburn, keeps you in the shade. It will keep you cooler. I'm going to put some bug spray on. The mosquitoes are out now, thankfully. Yay, everybody likes mosquitoes. And I'm going to have my hiking stick, as I talked about last Sunday. I always have my hiking stick. I use it all the time. In my pockets, I have I'm going to have my cell phone, of course. And I'm always going to have some kind of cutting tool. This is a pocket knife, a lighter. Anytime you guys ever see me, and I told you guys this all last summer, anytime you guys ever see me, if you see me in Walmart a year from now, and you say, hey Greg, what's in your pockets? I'm going to show you a lighter, and I'm going to show you a pocket knife. Anywhere I go, unless I'm giving a talk at a school or something like that, and I can't have the pocket knife. But if you guys ever catch me out, there's a $1 bounty. Anytime you guys ever see me out and about in public, if I don't have my lighter, I'll give you $1. If I don't have my pocket knife, I'll give you another $1. I do that because it's never going to happen. I always have them with me. So anywhere you go, especially as you get a little older, I always have those 2 things. I use them a million times a day. And so we're going to get ready to go here. I'm going to put a GoPro on so you guys can see the length of my hike. Got about a 3-mile hike. And, most importantly, I almost forgot water. Going to hydrate before I go. I'm fully hydrated now. And I'm going to bring at least a liter of water. So I'll top this up a little bit with a little ice and a little bit more water. So this is an Nalgene bottle. We sell them at the Scout Shop. This is a liter of water. I bring at least this much. On really miserable days when it's like 100 degrees, I'll bring 2 of them. Always make sure you're hydrated when you're ready to go. Always make sure you got a little food in your tummy. That's going to help on your hike. And I said I always bring along a little bit of a lunch or a snack. And drink plenty of water. Dehydration and exhaustion are nothing to joke about. They're not very comfortable things to experience. Let's get ready to go on my hike. Scouts, that's going to do it for my Sunday stroll. I hope you guys enjoyed the hike. I did just shy of 3 miles according to my tracker, so I did 2.9 miles. I stopped midway for granola bar. I didn't eat my apple. I'm going to eat that now and finish my liter of water. Stay nice and hydrated, and I will see you next Sunday.